according to the prophecy before on thee, that by them, by those prophecy, thou mightest war a good warfare. Tell someone left and right, according to the prophecy. Paul opened up certain truths to Timothy, and one of the truths Paul opened to him, he said, Timothy, my son, you have a calling on your head. There is something great on your life. There is a prophecy that you carry. I need you to be aware, Timothy, that every prophecy on your life will attract warfare. Every prophecy on your life, the fulfillment of such prophecy is tied to your readiness to war. Hear me and hear me clearly tonight. The battle of every life is because of the prophecy on that life. The battle of every entity is because of the prophecy on that entity. You say, man of God, I am going through battles I cannot explain. It is according to the prophecy that went before you were born. Hear me and hear me well. Before you ever came to that family, there has been a prophecy that a man, a woman will be born that will lead the liberation of the family. A man, a woman will be born that will bring the emancipation of that family. The devil was aware, so the devil began to put stumbling blocks, bomb stoppers, roadblocks. So in that the prophecy of your life, you ask yourself, why these battles? What do I have? What have I owned? Why battle to battle? It's because there is something the enemy knows that you don't know. It is called prophecy. There's a prophecy on your head, and I decree upon your life, every prophecy over your life that the enemy is contending with, every prophecy over your family that the enemy is fighting, that prophecy shall enter fulfillment. Be seated, be seated. Be seated, sir, be seated. Listen to me, everyone. Your condition is not as important as your destination. Between your condition and your destination, there's something called manifestation. The Bible says in Judges chapter 6, from verse 11 to verse 13, a young man with a prophecy. He was hiding behind the winepress. He was hiding behind his father's farm. He was hiding behind his father's cultivated farm. He was hiding by the bush. He was running from the Midianites. When he saw them coming, he was running until the angel came, and the angel said to him, you are hiding, you don't know what you are. You are hiding, you don't know your prophecy. You are a mighty man of valor. Who was called a mighty man? A little boy. Who was called a mighty man? A teenager. Who was called a mighty man? A young boy who had not discovered his life. He was called mighty man because he had passion. Are you aware? When there is passion, age is immaterial. When there is passion, location is immaterial. When there is passion, education is immaterial. A mighty man of valor hiding behind the winepress, and the angel came. You don't know who you are. A young man called Joseph, he had a dream. He dreamed about his future. They fought him. I am sure anytime Joseph see that Lord P, he will run from it, because P always reminded him about the pit. The letter P reminded him about the prison. The letter P reminded him about Potiphar's wife. But he was not aware that in letter P was the palace. In letter P was the prime minister. In what letter P was Pharaoh's dream. I come to prophesy, your problem shall become your promotion. Who art thou, O great mountain? Before Zerubbabel, thou shalt become a plain. Have you not heard, have you not known, that the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth, neither fainted nor is he weary, for there's no searching to his understanding. He giveth power to defend. The young man may fall, the youth may utterly fail, but they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. Run and not go weary. Walk and not faint. Are you aware that when he said I had a dream, they hated him? After many years, when God repackaged him, when God reinvented him, the same young man who said I had a dream and they hated him, he came back and said I am Joseph, and they were afraid. When God repackages you, he will reintroduce you. When God repackages you, he will reintroduce you. The same young man that said I had a dream and they were filled with anger, he came out and said I am Joseph. Tell somebody, I am about to reintroduce myself.